The idea of phantom time is a controversial idea that proposes that historians have made a mistake in their understanding of Western history. A German historian, Heribert Illig, proposed this theory in 1991 to explain why historical documents seem to show that the years 614 to 911 CE never existed. Doubting is not a bad thing, however. It is not always a good thing either. What needs to happen is to think logically and ask the right questions. When the right things are asked in regards to the unexplainable, the answers may make it all sensible. The phantom time hypothesis is a historic theory originally brought by Herbert Illig. Illig believed that there was a plan that was decided to implement that would alter time, specifically to fabricate the Anno Domini dating system retroactively. He believed that this was introduced by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly including Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. He believed that by them doing so, it would place them at AD 1000. This would allow history to change, which would then legitimize Otto's claim to the Holy Roman Empire. Herbert Illig believed this was done by misrepresenting, altering, as well as forging any physical or documentary evidence. According to Illig's theory, the entire caroling period, including that of the figure of Charlemagne, was fabricated, and that they had added 297 years to the early Middle Ages. Illig is the only person in history to support his theory. Although his theory gained widespread media coverage, especially in Germany, there was not a single historian that could understand Illig's theory. It was passed on as flawed fundamentally by everyone who took the time to read and consider this theory. Some of Illig's theories pertaining to this theory included the following. 1. The scarcity of any historical evidence from the time of AD 614 through 911. His reasoning included the inadequacies of radiometric and dendrochronological methods. He also argued that medieval historians relied too much on written evidence. 2. He brought forth the fact that there was Romanesque architecture in Western Europe in the 10th century. To Illig, this meant that the Roman era was not as long as stated. 3. The Julian calendar was reported to have an inaccuracy around the tropical year, of at least one day for each century that the calendar was in use for. When the Gregorian calendar came to be in AD 1582, the Julian calendar, there should have been 13 days difference, which there was not. The mathematicians and astronomers who worked for Pope Gregory XI found there was only an issue of 10 days. On the Julian calendar of June 4th, 1582, which was a Thursday, and then followed by the first day of the Gregorian calendar 15 October, 1582, which was a Friday. By figuring this out, Illig determined that there were about 3 centuries that never existed. Astronomically speaking, there are recorded dates for lunar eclipses, solar eclipses throughout history. By following these dates, it is unlikely that Illig's theory is legitimate. European sources have documented solar eclipses since before 600 AD. Charlemagne did not exist if we are to believe the theory. According to Illig, the 3 religious leaders who created this time-lapse made up the figure of Charlemagne. Archaeological remains and methods of dating, such as dendrochronology, would dispute the theory of phantom time, rather than support it. The Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar were never meant to coincide. The Julian already existed at that time, as did the Gregorian calendar. What these show is that the missing amount of years claimed by Illig is actually the amount of time from instituting the Julian calendar in 45 BC to the date when the Easter date was fixed in 325 AD. Another oddity in Illig's claim of a theory is that if Charlemagne did not exist, then we must also consider the Anglo-Saxon England, the papacy, and even the Byzantine period as also fabricated. Illig's phantom time period would also include Mohammed and the Islamic expansion in the area, which means this too did not actually happen. What did Illig hope to gain? Did he want notoriety? Money? His title states that he is a history revisionist. The definition of historical revisionist states that it usually involves challenging the orthodox views held by scholars. So then we ask, is the man not just doing his job as described? He is after all challenging some very well-known scholars over a period of time that can be proven in all parts of the world. Maybe what Illig was after is a reversal of older moral judgments. What was he thinking? Why are there such a minimal amount of people that side with Illig on this notion of missing time? Carl Sagan states that although unlikely, it is plausible to some extent. Sagan says that when making an extraordinary claim, you better have more than just circumstantial evidence. Now, all the circumstantial evidence, when put together, does raise enough questions in regards to forgery through the religious sanctum. Illig is not the only person to have a theory in regards to time. Anatoly Fomenko is another individual who has a claim of pseudo-historical theory. Fomenko's theory states that the events that are attributed to the Roman Empire, ancient Greece, and also ancient Egypt all actually happened during the Middle Ages. This would be at least 1,000 years after the events all took place. Fomenko does not stop there, however. He also states that time before AD 1600 has been widely fabricated to suit the needs and wants of people or groups such as the Roman Empire, the Vatican, and even the House of Romanov. According to the theory of Fomenko, they all work together to obscure the true history of the world, which is that of the Russian horde, which is supposedly a global empire. Of course, this theory is not alone in its effort to change history also. In 1887, Edwin Johnson stated that he clearly believed that a large part of early Christian history had been invented and made up in the 2nd and 3rd centuries. In 1909, Otto Rank came up with a theory based on what he called repeated history in the literary world. Fomenko's specific claims include that translators and historians assign different places, different times or dates, and thus we have much phantom time to make sense of. Fomenko also mentions the fact that no one has been able to give a date for the apocalypse due to the repeated history, the phantom pages, and mistranslated scripts. Apparently, for these men, there is no such thing as a mistake made in printing or reading. Even the other mentioned theories cannot be proven in any manner. According to Fomenko, dates are not necessarily what should be looked at only. In basic terms, it should be known that times of strife and unrest or war will take up more time than the amount of time peace takes up in chronological order. I want so badly to ask if these people are okay. Have they fallen and hit their heads? There are many types of proof to negate both of their theories, and I am no historian or mathematician. When you see the proof, by way of being able to date rocks, sediment, or to transcribe what is on paper in front of one, the idea perhaps should not be adhered to. Granted, all people are entitled to their opinions, but as Carl Sagan stated, if one makes a serious claim, he best have some serious evidence to back it up. When it comes to these two theories, the scholars, researchers, archaeologists, and even historians have spoken. The proof is there. Just look. Stay tuned for more next time. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos.